Welcome to my channel Tech Set Go. Apple has officially rolled out iOS 26. And as with nearly every big iPhone update, people are buzzing with excitement, curiosity, and in some cases, a little bit of frustration. The update introduces what Apple calls the liquid glass design language, a futuristic aesthetic filled with elastic animations, semi-translucent elements, and bold redesign choices. While some users are in love with the refreshing look, others feel that the visual overhaul creates more confusion than clarity. Among the dozens of new features and changes tucked into iOS 26, one seemingly small but highly controversial update has sparked intense debate. The search bar has been moved to the bottom of the screen. For years, iPhone users have relied on pulling down from the top or tapping near the top area to search quickly. Now Apple wants you to retrain your muscle memory. Let's be honest, that hasn't gone over smoothly with everyone. In this long-form guide, we're going to break down everything you need to know about this change. Why Apple made the switch, how users can customize or adjust their experience, workarounds, and hidden tricks for making iOS 26 more intuitive, and most importantly, whether or not you can move the search bar back to the top on iOS 26. Along the way, we'll also look at how this fits into Apple's broader design philosophy, what it means for everyday usability, and how to get the most out of iOS 26 without driving yourself crazy. Apple's liquid glass design. The big picture. To understand why the search bar has shifted, we need to zoom out and talk about the liquid glass design. Apple didn't just release a few new wallpapers and call it a day. They've reimagined how iOS looks and feels across the board. With semi-transparent app windows, elastic animations, and a softer, rounded aesthetic, Apple is leaning hard into a design language that feels fluid, futuristic, and almost playful. Think of it as the middle ground between the flat minimalism of iOS 7 and the more textured realism of older iOS versions. Big design shifts like this often force changes in layout and interaction. The move of the search bar from the top to the bottom is part of Apple's bigger push to make one-handed use easier. With iPhones growing in size, the company wants critical functions like search, Safari address bars, and quick navigation to live where your thumb naturally rests, the lower third of the screen. On paper, it makes sense. In practice, it's a jarring adjustment, especially for those who have been using iPhones for over a decade. The search bar controversy. The search bar debate really took off the moment users updated to iOS 26. Social media threads, Reddit posts, and tech forums exploded with the same complaint. Why is the search bar at the bottom? Who asked for this? Some users love the new placement, arguing that it makes the iPhone more ergonomic, especially on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and larger models. Instead of stretching your finger awkwardly, everything is now within reach. But others say the change breaks years of habit. Pulling down from the top to activate Spotlight search used to feel natural. Now having the search box fixed at the bottom feels cluttered and unintuitive. To make things more complicated, iOS 26's liquid glass transparency has made some users feel the interface is crowded with the new bar overlapping elements in a way that looks messy or reduces text readability. So what's the solution? Can you move it back? Can you move the search bar back to the top in iOS 26? Here's the straightforward answer. Not everywhere. Safari. Apple does give you an option, which can choose whether the address search bar sits at the bottom, default, or at the top. Classic layout. This option was first introduced in iOS 15 when Apple tested moving Safari's URL bar, and the backlash was so strong that they added a toggle. Thankfully, that toggle still exists. However, for the system-wide Spotlight search bar, the one that appears on your home screen and across iOSs, Apple hasn't given users an official way to move it back, at least not yet. Right now, it remains locked to the bottom. This means if you're hoping for a simple setting switch to bring the bar back to the top everywhere, you're out of luck. But that doesn't mean there aren't workarounds and hidden fixes. Even though Apple doesn't allow direct customization of the Spotlight search bar's placement, there are still ways to adjust how you interact with it and improve the experience. Here are some strategies. Use Safari's built-in toggle open Safari. Tap the A button on the left side of the address bar. Choose Show Top Address Bar. This brings the URL search bar back to the top in Safari. specifically to disable spotlight search on the home screen. If you absolutely and stand seeing the bottom bar on your home screen. Go to Settings Siri and search Toggle Off Show Spotlight on home screen. This removes the bar entirely. You'll still be able to search using Siri or within apps, but you won't have that persistent bar staring back at you. Rely on Siri or voice search. Apple continues to push Siri integration deeper into iOS. While not everyone loves talking to their phone, voice search is faster and avoids dealing with UI changes altogether. Accessibility settings adjustments. Head into Settings, Accessibility, Display, and Text Size. From here, you can tweak transparency, bold text, and other options that make the new liquid glass design easier on the eyes. Why Apple won't let you move it yet? Many users are frustrated that Apple isn't offering a simple toggle for spotlight search placement like they did with Safari. The likely reason, Apple tends to enforce design consistency across iOS. By pushing everyone to adapt to the bottom bar, they're standardizing navigation for one-handed use. It's part of a long-term plan to make the iPhone feel more reachable as devices continue to grow in size. There's also a business angle. Apple often waits for user backlash to peak before quietly adding a toggle in a later update.